It's time for The Local with your host and realtor, Katie McKinney.
Hey guys, it's Katie, and today I have Connie Rolen here. Connie, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, of course. Connie is kind of I want to say a staple in the Woodward community. And I know you're probably going to be like, what? But Connie is involved with so many different things, and not only at Bank 7, which we'll talk a lot about, but also just in the community with nonprofits and different organizations, which is actually where I first met you, believe it or not. I don't know if you remember. It's been 3 years, so that's a long time. But yeah, she's an amazing businesswoman here in Northwest Oklahoma. And so that's why we wanted to have her on. But Connie, tell us a little bit about yourself, your position at Bank 7, and that sort of thing.
Okay, well, I am Vice President of Mortgage Lending, which means, of course, that I am at the top as far as mortgage lending. When I went to work for Bank 7 over 9 years ago, I started the mortgage department.
Oh, wow.
And so we have had, ups and downs and all that as far as any business does.
Every business does, yeah.
But we have some wonderful people that we work with and software that makes our job so much easier.
Yes.
So, and then of course I have my processor that works with me, Melinda Russo. So
she's amazing as well.
Yes.
Another staple in the community.
Right. Yes.
Awesome.
Got to have help.
So that's your main title is mortgage lending.
Yes.
Vice President.
Yes.
Of mortgage lending. And you've been with Bank 7 for 9 years.
A little over 9 years. Yes.
And Bank 7 has grown a lot in the last 9 years. Most people may not realize that.
Yes.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about kind of where are you from and how did you get to Woodward?
Well, I'm from southeastern Oklahoma, where you have all the trees and the water and the mountains, even though they're not the Rockies.
Yes.
And so I moved to Woodward, of course, for jobs.
Yes.
And so I was in finance, and in 2001, I went to work for a mortgage broker here in Woodward. And so that's basically when I realized that I really love helping people get into homes.
Yeah.
First-time home buyers or, refinances or whatever, just exclusively mortgage loans. And so that's what I do is mortgage loans.
Okay.
And so that was in 2001 when I started work for the mortgage broker, and then I started a little over 9 years ago for Bank 7.
Perfect. And what was your, after you graduated college, did you go, or high school, did you go to college? Did you go to a VOTEC? Did you go straight into working? Kind of what was that experience
Well,
like?
I did some VOTEC, and then I still had to work, so because being very poor. And so then just went for working, it just rolled over into finance. And so I've just basically always been in finance.
That's excellent.
And worked for 2 other banks. I did work for MidFirst for just a little while, but the majority of my time in banking has been with Bank 7.
Awesome.
And but that's where I,
kind of truly fell in love with it.
Yes,
it was
absolutely.
What was there. And obviously Bank 7's got some pretty great people to work for as well.
Yes.
Shout out to Doug.
Yeah, he'll love that. Yeah.
He is he's one of my favorite people. He probably doesn't know that because I wouldn't want to tell him.
Okay.
We won't want to tell him, but
right.
he's probably not listening. So
I want him to be able to get through the front door in the morning.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm sure he's a great person to work for as well.
He is.
Their whole group there is,
yes,
I'm sure
we
fantastic.
have some wonderful people, and we're all down to earth. It's a community bank, so we're all down to earth. We're like, come in and visit, make an appointment if you want to.
Yes.
So the community banking part of it is the part that I really love.
Well, and it sounds like that's kind of what, again, made you fall in love with helping others, was that community feel, helping others, and that's very similar to real estate. You get to help people through a very stressful time.
Right.
Sometimes stressful time for you and them.
I didn't know that ever got stressful for you.
No, not ever. Really, we just show up to closings.
Right. Yeah. That's what people think, right?
People think. I think I took a picture the other day. Actually, Allie took a picture of me with a vacuum and said, all we do is show up to closings. And it's funny because I was the one vacuuming the house right before closing because I thought it was a little too dirty. So it's one of those things we kind of do everything just like you. I mean, you help them from, before they're even ready to purchase,
Correct.
when they are purchasing, through that process, closing, and then refinancing, and maybe a move up or whatever it might be.
Right.
So it's a lifelong
It
friendship,
is.
relationship from the beginning to the end.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
And that's what's so great is that you have people come back to buy a new home or to
Yes.
refinance or whatever, you
Yeah.
know. Have people call me all the time, okay, well, so what are rates today?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I have and what can you do for me?
Yep.
And so, give them some education on
Mhm.
it, because really, I mean, you can Google all day long, you can do the Credit Karma, you can do whatever, but unless you
Yeah.
really talk to a person that's going to give you some one-on-one time,
Yeah.
you're not going to know
Exactly.
when it's the best time to do.
Well, and that's why I really love what you do and how you do it, because there's a lot of people that when they sit down with a potential buyer, they say, or somebody maybe that's looking into purchasing their first home, and I'm not saying it's a lot of local companies, but there are some companies, some lenders that say, okay, you don't have credit, you don't have money, bye, walk out the door,
Right, absolutely.
and that's what I love about Northwest Oklahoma and Bank 7 and you specifically, is that you say, okay, here's what we're looking at, here are the steps to get us there, this is the time frame, maybe potentially if we follow these steps, this is what we're looking at. So when they leave your office, they're not wondering or thinking, oh my goodness, I can never buy a home, I'm gonna have
Right.
to rent for the rest of my life.
Right.
You've given them a pathway to home ownership, and that's one thing I really admire about you and Bank 7 specifically, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you
Yeah,
for sending the
of
customers.
course, yeah, of course.
And right, whether they're ready or whether they're not, they're not going to know that. And so many people say, "Well, I would have never known to do this."
Yeah.
How are we supposed to know? And so
Yeah.
that's when, honestly, that's whenever that, getting on the phone and calling one of the companies online or whatever,
It's not gonna
you're
help.
just not going to
Yeah.
get that one-on-one.
No, you're not. And actually, I've done it myself, just as like not an experiment, but kind of. If you call an online person that you have no connection with, no relationship, they don't know you from anyone.
Right.
No connection to the community, no investment in the community, and all they do is send you a big packet of potential closing costs. How can we get you approved?
Right.
We're going to get you pre-approved
Right.
of, how much ever you want. Well, that's not always good.
No, it's not.
It's not good, and that's what Branson and I were just talking about, is that you have to, even though you're pre-approved for a certain amount, one, that does not mean that you need to spend that amount.
That is correct.
That may not be very comfortable, even though you may be. And so that's one thing that's really nice about a local bank, is that you can go in, or on the phone or email if you don't have
Sure.
time to go in.
Absolutely.
But you can go in and kind of get, okay, my monthly budget is this. What do we want? Mortgage payment, insurance and taxes, and all those good things as well. Escrows go into it. And so that's again another nice thing, and I'm sure you love helping people kind of figure out. It's really a budget. I mean, is really what
It
is.
is, yes. And not only that, but if they don't have a car payment, eventually they're going to have a car payment.
Yeah.
How comfortable are they going to be adding a car payment?
Exactly.
I want them to look at the whole picture.
The whole picture.
Yeah.
I love that, and especially because you don't know everything that's going to be going on in future years.
No.
Unexpected expenses can really hurt people.
Right.
And you're seeing that a lot now. You have one thing go wrong, or one job not have those extra hours or whatever, and then it's, oh no, we can't pay our bills, we can't pay our mortgage. So I really do love that you're able to go over all of that, see the big picture. That's a great way of saying it.
And not only that, but I always tell people, don't base your bills on your overtime.
Right.
Just go off of your base income.
Yep.
If you use that extra overtime for whatever luxury thing that you might want to buy.
Save up for vacation.
Yeah,
or,
but save money, because you
Yeah.
will have some expenses whenever you buy a home. But
Yes.
it's
unexpected moving
Yes.
expenses,
Right.
deposits for utilities.
right.
Who would have known?
Yes.
There's some deposits that they want.
Some plumbing problems
Some
after
plumbing
they
problem.
move in or whatever.
They always say a house knows whenever it's got new owners, because there's always something that comes on. I don't know why, but there's always something. I get calls every once in a while. We hope for not for those calls, obviously, but something went wrong, or something's not working exactly the way it should, and you don't like getting those, but it's bound to happen. You're
Right.
officially a homeowner,
Right.
and so it comes with the territory a little bit.
Yes.
It really. I won't tell my story. Willie with Woodward Plumbing may hurt me, but it was kind of unexpected, even on a new construction. There are some unexpected things,
sure.
and you better be ready and prepared for that, not overstretch yourself.
Yes.
Perfect. So on to that, and kind of in preparing for this home ownership, what are a few things, maybe 3 things or more, that you think are important to do now before someone is actually in that home buying process? What are some things that might help them prepare for that?
Well, I think number one is credit.
Yes.
And so they want to have as good a credit score, because the higher the credit score, the lower the interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't have to have the very best credit score, but if they know and understand how to build that credit score, that's going to help. You know, pay the credit cards down, don't overcharge on the credit cards. So credit, and then save your money. So if you're thinking about buying a house and the house payment's going to be $700 or $800, make sure you can save that much money for a few months. And how comfortable are you with that?
Yep.
Because that's going to be a big part of it. You don't want them to get in the house and then just feel so overwhelmed that they can't make the payment.
Right.
So credit, save your money, you know, talk with the realtor.
Yeah. Kind of figure
Get
out
some
what
ideas.
expect. What can we purchase in this range, or where we might be comfortable? What are those monthly payments looking like? I have a few apps that, you know, and obviously I encourage buyers, even before they start looking at homes, to get pre-approved or talk with the lender first, just so they have a general idea. But we do get a lot of calls that say, I just want to see this house.
Right.
I just want to see the house.
Right.
And I go, okay, I'm going to show it to you, and we'll talk a little bit about trying to get you in touch with the lender as well, you know, during that time. And so we do look at the house, and it's wonderful, and they love it sometimes, most times, and then they have no idea how to buy it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's,
Oh, absolutely.
I fell in love with the house. We want to move. We want to get out of the rental, and we don't have any money, you
Right.
know, or we don't have any credit, you know. And a lot of them are like, I say, what, you know, you have any idea of your credit range? And no, I don't think we have any credit. Well, that may be a little bit of an issue as we're looking at a $200,000 house.
Absolutely.
But you know, and that's the nice thing about real estate, is we're able to help. And you,
Right.
you know, you may love that house, and I may be happy to show it to you. But at some point, we need to go talk to a lender.
Right. And that's a good thing that they did look at. I mean, it's kind of, it can be very hurtful to them if they can't afford that house or whatever. So you've got the good and the bad on that.
Yes.
However, if they love that house and they have the money and can afford it, but they don't have the credit,
Right.
they have a goal.
Yes.
And that's number one.
That's
you need to
exactly
have
right.
the goal, whether it's the credit, the down payment money, closing cost money, or whatever. You need to have a goal to work toward.
Yeah, I love that.
So,
I love that. Well, and it gives them, again, something to look forward to, something to reach, and that's right. And that's why I'm happy to show the house, and then maybe help them get in touch with someone that can help them with that side of things. So, but also it's good to know what you can afford in that way of, you know, we look at the home and I say, okay, well, at this purchase price, hypothetical situation, here's my little handy app that you can put in kind of what you're thinking your current rental rate is. And you know, how does that compare to actually owning it? And then don't forget, we most of the time have PMI, private mortgage insurance, and taxes and insurance. And they go, oh, now that's a little bit more than what I was thinking.
Yeah, that might be $300 or $400 more.
Exactly. So I go, okay, well then we need to scale down, and then we need to, or we need to. This is the goal, you know, like you said, and then get in touch with the lender. So I think those are really good, especially the saving money part. I'm sure you're not surprised, but I am surprised on the number of buyers that come to me and say, I don't have any money. I'm going to buy a house. I know I'm going to buy a house, but I have zero money. Like, I don't even have earnest money to put down. And I go, well, you know, just as an idea, you may want to start saving up a little bit, because when those unexpected things happen, well, then you're not in a good shape to do anything, you know. So what? I mean, that's kind of another reason maybe why on the saving money and the credit and among other things. Well, that's neat. And
and I always ask them, okay, so how much of your paycheck do you think you can save? Because So many of us go
Mhm.
out and spend money that
Yeah.
we could be saving. And so if you
Yes.
can save that
Mhm.
and scale back,
Mhm.
you get that little nest egg and you feel so much better because you have savings.
Yes.
And you know that's part of your goal
Mhm.
to reach that um, ability to be able to buy that dream home.
Yeah,
So,
confidence is key in that as
yes.
well. You
Yeah.
wouldn't think about home buying and confidence, but that's true. When you have the little, I love that
Yeah.
little nest egg, and how much can you save out of your paycheck? I'm gonna start using that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start using just a little. How comfortable are you gonna be if you're deciding to do this? Well, that's neat. I mean, I feel like it's so important to have a good relationship with your lender too.
Yes. Absolutely.
Wouldn't you agree?
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
it's absolutely imperative, and you see that. And we're kind of switching gears a little bit, but during this virus and just everything going on, a lot of people said I never had a good relationship with my lender, and here I am trying to apply for the PPP or other different types of grants, and I don't know who to use. I don't know. I don't even know who I have money in an account, but we don't know anybody that's associated with it.
Right.
So don't you agree that it is so important to kind of get in touch early with someone that you know and trust,
Yes.
and kind of continue that relationship?
Well, and even after I make the loan, and of
Mhm.
course we're going to sell it third party so
Right.
we can get that really low interest rate.
Mhm.
But even after that, I still have people call me and say, okay, so here's my problem. What
Mhm.
can I do?
Mhm.
How can I go about this? Okay, so if they used one of those lenders online, they would
Yes.
not be able to call anyone. They
Nope.
wouldn't give them any advice.
You're on your own.
Yes. And so, we had a hailstorm. And so,
Mhm.
what do I do? What's the first
Mhm.
thing I do? I mean, sometimes we do have to hold their hand
Mhm.
through that,
Yep.
through the beginning, but through this too. But
Mhm.
that's why we're there,
Mhm.
is we are the community bank. And
Yep.
so, we are there to answer the questions that they
Mhm.
have and to help them, even with that lender, to be able to be that person that's going to pick up the phone and help them out.
Yes,
So,
and refer them to other local professionals that can help them
Absolutely.
through that
Yes,
process as well.
yes.
If you're talking to somebody that has no idea where Woodward, Oklahoma is, that's kind of an issue. They're going on Google and just searching the most random people on insurance companies or
Right,
whatever it might
right.
be. Where you have locals that it really does help. You can't beat customer service and local service as well, in my opinion. So.
Well, and that's another thing on insurance. If they go, I tell them,
Mhm.
I don't care who you go with,
Mhm.
but go to a person that's local.
Mhm.
Sit down with them so they can explain it to you, because
Yes.
there's so many different aspects of that also.
Most definitely. No, I 100% agree. And kind of to follow up on that, what is one of your favorite things about being a businesswoman in Northwest Oklahoma?
Just, it took me honestly about a year to fall in love with Woodward
Yes.
because of where I came from.
Yep.
But the people, the interaction that you have with all different kinds of people, and how you can go about helping those people. Because one of the things that I like to do is to take someone that really has some struggles and to educate them, and then to see them through the end, and they can actually buy that home. So Woodward is such a wonderful community. I mean, the people
It
are
is.
friendly. There's integrity. Just, I really just can't say enough about Woodward.
Yeah.
And the part that it is a rural community right now with COVID going on, I am absolutely loving
Thrilled.
living
We
in
lo-
Woodward, Oklahoma.
We can have our own social distancing
Right.
because we've got room to do it.
Right,
So,
absolutely.
So that's neat. Well, thank you so much for being here, Connie. Thank you for everything that you do for our community and continue to do for my real estate customers and real estate customers in general. I know there are a lot of people that are very thankful for you and thankful for what you do here. So thank you.
Thank you, Katie. I think
Yes.
you and Allie are awesome, and
Well,
we
thank
love
you.
working with you. So thank you for inviting me.
Of course, anytime.
Okay.